I'm gonna fight, then I'm gonna fight for what's right.
One woman found that she was denied something most Americans take for granted.
It's absolutely impossible to understand why you would ask that of someone. But we don't ask it of everyone. We only ask it of gay and lesbian couples.
As the love of her life lay dying in a hospital room, Charlene Strong was asked to wait outside.
People don't realize just what difficult situations we're put in that they would never dream of being put in, simply by having a marriage license.
Simply because she's gay, Charlene would miss a chance to hold her life partner's hand and offer comfort as she lay dying. For her, that personal pain would become a political pledge. Charlene would step front and center of a civil rights debate, fighting on behalf of the entire gay-lesbian community so that no one else would have to go through what she did.
I'm a human, and I deserve equality just like any other person in this country.
Charlene, an interior designer, had been living an idyllic life with Kate Fleming, a renowned audiobook narrator in Seattle. They had been together for 10 years.
She made you feel like you were the most important person in the world.
Washington state law did not recognize the right of gays to marry, but Charlene and Kate consider themselves a married couple, just like any other.
We had a commitment ceremony, actually, in her parents' backyard. She was my wife. We didn't have the legal paperwork, but she was my wife.
Is this the place we used to love?
We lived here about 8 years.
They renovated a small cottage together and built a basement recording studio for Kate's audiobook career.
It was just so glorious. It doesn't hold that for me anymore. All I keep thinking about is what happened to her that night.
What happened that night in December 2006 was a storm for the record books.
Tonight, an entire region of the country is hoping for an end to a pummeling after...
Charlene was at work when Kate called from home.
I'm trapped, and I can't get out. She said, "I need you to hurry."
Charlene raced home to find water flooding the basement. Kate was trapped in the soundproof recording booth.
It was like whitewater rapids. I was trying everything, and nothing was working. If you can imagine hearing someone begging for help on the other side, and you can't do anything to help them. Firefighters arrived, and they had to cut out the entire bedroom floor in order to extricate her from the basement.
Kate was rushed to the hospital barely alive. Charlene was not allowed beyond the front desk. She says a hospital representative prevented her from being with Kate because legally she was not recognized as next of kin.
I just kind of looked at her like, "I'm sorry, I don't believe I understand what you're saying. You know, I am her next of kin. We've been together for 10 years. She said, "We need to get someone who will allow you." I said, "Someone who?" And she said, "A family member." I said, "I am her family." Well, that wasn't sufficient.
As Kate lay fighting for her life down the hall, Charlene was unable to get past the front desk.
All I wanted to do was just hold her hand, and I wanted to tell her I loved her. And I wanted to tell her that if she wasn't okay, to go.
Crucial moments ticked away as the hospital tried to contact Kate's family, which did ultimately give permission for Charlene to be with her. But by the time Charlene was allowed in the room, Kate was unconscious. She died shortly after. For precious last moments of her life, she was alone, although the woman she considered to be her wife was just steps away.
I hurt just as deeply as anyone else. How would you feel if you were treated the same way? How would you feel if you were put under that level of scrutiny? Whether you were married or not.
Charlene says the indignity continued when she was confronted by a director at the funeral home.
He didn't miss a beat. He said, "You don't have any rights in this state. You can't make those decisions for her." And it was like, not again. And that's when the profundity of discrimination hit me full force. Was that second time in such a short amount of time. I thought, I just can't believe this. I should be able to make these decisions. But because at the time in Washington state, we had no ability to recognize same-sex couples legally in any way, shape, or form. Marriage is a right that everyone in this country is afforded, and that comes with about 1,138 rights and provisions between state rights and federal rights. So the minute you come out of the closet and you tell the world who you are, right off the bat, we're denied 1,138 rights simply because we're gay. It doesn't seem right. And it doesn't seem like the country that I was told that I was, living in.
It was a harsh realization, one Charlene could not ignore.
It was like from the moment Kate died, I just kept pacing. I felt like a caged lion.
She decided to fight.
Hello, my name is Charlene Strong, and I brought a picture along of my partner, Catherine Fleming, today.
She testified before the Washington state legislature in support of a bill that would grant basic domestic partnership rights to gay and lesbian couples.
After suffering one of the greatest losses of my life and the love of my life, of one of the most beautiful people that I ever had the chance to be with for 10 years, I suffered the indignities of not being able to make those decisions.
That bill was signed into law, making Washington one of the first states in the nation to recognize domestic partnerships.
God bless you, Charlene, for coming today and making this day possible.
It's never going to bring Kate back. It's never going to make things the way they were. But in some small way, maybe she didn't die in vain, that something good did come from this.
Despite Charlene's victory in Washington state, only 6 states grant same-sex couples all the rights of married couples. And same-sex couples continue to be denied all of the federal rights that go along with marriage.
This is what we're trying to say to people. Look, it's not about marriage, it's about equality. Please just let us have the exact same rights that you do. Nothing more, nothing less.
Her fight continues.
For example, Charlene Strong is here. She lost her wife, Kate Fleming.
Earlier this year, President Obama signed a groundbreaking presidential memo granting people nationwide the ability to designate who should act as their next of kin in the hospital.
One person can make a difference. It's just reaching across the table and saying, hey, let's talk about this.